for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, VenomFire here, back from the video, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys something a little bit different. I'm going to be bringing you guys what I think is the top 5 best offensive playbooks and defensive playbooks in Madden 21. A little bit different from my normal gameplay tips. This is helping with gameplay. But I'm just going to talk about the playbooks. If you want to know how to run any of these playbooks, any of these formations, I've dropped tons of videos on all of this stuff. So you can check out the other videos on my channel. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and follow me on Twitter. Link will be down below in the description. But yeah, starting out, you see we got the Las Vegas Raiders as our #1 offensive playbook in the entire game. Now, Raiders, it just really has it all in my opinion. And as the game is right now, I do think it is #1. Now, things are subject to change, but honestly, I don't see this changing too much. It really does have it all. Starting out, you got the gun trips tight end, which is probably the best passing formation in the game right now. Overall, a lot of the best players are running this. I do think it's a little bit better than bunch at this state of the game. It's a really good trips, the best trips really in the game that you can get. All the good plays: X spot, PA counter go, curl flat, inside cross, verticals, double and sail, inside zone, PA shot post, PA counter go, really everything that you could want. Then you move on to your other formations. You got bunch tight end, really good play in the bottom, that PA boot over. You got inside zone. You obviously got a couple of other plays: inside switch, curl flat. Moving on to the next formation, you actually have a decent split bunch. You have a couple of good plays. Just to show you guys, you have Z spot. You also have flood here. You also have bench pivot, and you could run like bunch trail. So you have like 4 really good bunch plays. And now if you're running Raiders, you're probably not going to want to run bunch, but just to show you some really good plays in this bunch, very underrated, and it is a usable bunch. Now the rest of these gun formations are not that good. I know TD Barrett actually runs this Trey sack, I think. So hey, I guess you could build a scheme out of any of these. Trey by flex, again, decent. I haven't made a video on that actually, but yeah, let's move on to the other things now. Running the ball is not super good, but this strong close is. So strong close, again, one of the most popular formations, and overall just having trips and strong close in the same playbook overall is the thing that probably sets it apart from anything else. So we got strong close here. Very good. Not only is it good with just the strong close, but you can audible to really anything that you want from it. You can audible to I-form close. You got power O, you got stretch, you got dive. Taking a look, you got H slot, again, one of the best running formations. Dive, stretch, we all know about that. You got some heavier sets. And then as far as the single back goes, you do have a wing flex close, again, running and passing under like a stock single back set. Not very popular. You won't really see anybody do that. But as far as the red zone, this wide trips, very good for the red zone. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into our #2 playbook. Anyways, moving on, we got our second and #2 offensive playbook. This one is going to be the New York Jets, which has become popular very recently with that club championship tournament. A lot more people are running this New York Jets offensive playbook. Now, again, this is a bunch playbook. I kind of had trouble. I'm not sure. Do people like bunch more? Do people like bunch offset? This is my personal preference. I like bunch this year a little bit better than that bunch offset, so I'm going to be rocking with this. We will start out with this gun bunch. It really does have it all. It's just even better than anything else. You got, as far as our plays, we got Jets dig, mesh post going up top. You got bench pivot, really good play. You got flood. You got this mesh play, very underrated. Bunch trail, Z spot, and then you have smash return. Overall, it has everything that you want in a gun bunch. And in addition, it has this bunch tight end. So out of another playbook that you'll see later in this video, it has a really good bunch, but it doesn't have any too good of audibles down or audibles to, something that you can do. So we got bunch tight end. We really do like this play. The real reason that Jets is going to be a little bit over the top of any other bunch playbook is because of the fact that you can audible to bunch tight end. And again, it is a even better bunch than the Raiders. As far as bunch tight end, again, talked about that a little bit earlier, but you guys all know the good plays in here. Also do have a trips tight end, which is very underrated as far as running the ball is concerned. Some of the fan favorite or most popular plays at the bottom, that RPO buck alert bubble, very solid play. But again, you're not really going to pass out of this set. As far as some of the other formations that we have, not too special, just going through here. You're really just going to run this bunch tight end, and then occasionally the trips tight end offset. As far as our other formations, Again, not too much in the I form, strong, or under center game. But it does, again, have this wide trips, which is a pretty solid under center formation that people actually run out of Raiders, and you can also run out of this. It has that 0-1 trap, that power alert bubble that people like. But yeah, overall, between the gun bunch, being able to audible a bunch tight end, this is going to be my number 2 playbook. Alright guys, now as far as our number 3 offensive playbook, I decided to go with the Carolina Panthers in this gun bunch offset playbook. Similar to the gun bunch, it has all of these plays. Now I really did struggle between my number 3 and my number 4, whether I went 4 before 3. Ultimately, I decided on Carolina ahead of San Francisco, which we'll talk about later, but yeah, Carolina bunch, very, very solid. It's the best bunch offset in the game. Pretty unanimous there. It's just a different style of bunch. It comes down to your personal preference. Again, I mentioned that I like gun bunch regular better. That's the reason why I have New York over this Carolina. But again, it can really go either way. There's very, very, very similar plays. As far as this is concerned, you have a couple of plays that are different. You have double post. You also have flood. You have Z-spot. You have pretty much you have smash return as well. So you really have a lot of the same plays. As far as the differences are, you have this double post. In addition, you also have a mesh post, but you also have this PA dig fork. So again, it depends on what plays you like, what plays you have success with. Again, I like having that Jets dig play a lot. That's overall what separates it for me personally. And not only having Jets dig, but being able to audible the bunch tight end. The reason that this is not as popular as it once was, because you can't audible to anything from it. There's no really other good formations in the bunch. There's not a trips. There's not really anything here. There's a little bunch halfback strong, but again, it's still bunch. It's the same thing, really. And there's not really any audible threat out of this formation. You know it's bunch. You don't have to worry or respect any other formations or audibles. For that simple reason, I had to give it to the Jets playbook. Now, one thing you can do is audible from bunch to I form close. It does have an I form close. I'll give it the edge in the ground game a little bit, but there's no power O, which is the best run. There's only a stretch. And is there a dive? Yeah, there's a dive. There's a toss. But again, there's no power O, which is the main play. And again, as far as red zone offense, there's not too much firepower here. Again, there's a couple of decent formations, but overall, Jets is more diverse. It has better formations per se, although maybe you could make an argument for Carolina actually having the better gun bunch stock formation. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to number 4 now. Alright guys, I kind of spoiled it earlier, but number 4 is going to go ahead and be the San Francisco 49ers. Now this is a little bit similar to the Raiders, actually very similar, except for the fact that the gun is worse, and that's really what ultimately separates them. There's no trips tight end, and there's really no bunch tight end or bunch at all, so it's not a good passing. If you're running 49ers, let's put it this way, you should never be in the gun really at all. But as far as strong close is going to be our main focus point out of the 49ers offense. We got some really good plays and runs. It's similar to the Raiders, but we have 2 extra plays. Those plays are going to be at the bottom there. You see angle out. That's a very unique but overall very successful play. You go up a little bit and you have mesh post at the top. So you have 2 extra passing plays in a pretty pass-heavy offense. It's diverse, depends on how you run it. But again, if you're running strong close, you're running 49ers playbook. If you're going to dabble in it a little bit, then you probably go Raiders. But if overall you're just looking to run strong close, you're looking to audible around, stay under center, strong close, and the 49ers playbook are for you. Again, it doesn't really have any weaknesses out of this strong close. It gives you an option to run every play. And again, as far as our I form goes, it's the exact same as the Raiders. So again, like I mentioned, very similar. You still have the close, very, very solid with that power O. You have the I form slot close, single back. You don't have as much power. It's actually very similar to that Carolina playbook, I want to say. So there's not really too much firepower out of that single back, but again, strong close, very solid. You actually have a split close that you can kind of mess around, and there's a couple of decent plays in here. But again, you mainly want to stay in that strong close, and if you're running strong close, this is going to be the best playbook for you. Dropped a lot of videos on strong close, dropped a full ebook on this 49ers offense, as I have with the Raiders as well. But again, with that being said, let's hop into our last offense playbook, and then we'll go into defense. Alright guys, so this was by far and away probably the most difficult decision I had making this video, coming up with my number 5, because even though we've gone over 4 great playbooks, there is still a ton of great ones. Basically, my thought process was I was deciding between New England, which we ultimately decided on, you have Seattle, which is a very good playbook. I was ultimately kind of deciding between those two, but they're still like Green Bay's very solid. New Orleans has some firepower. Baltimore's underrated. But mainly it was between Pats and that Seattle playbook. Now, really, Seattle, it's similar to the Jets. It really has one big difference, and that's going to be the read option. I like that read option a lot, but again, we've talked about a bunch for two of these, so we're going to go into a little bit of a uniquer playbook. And this one has gun trips tight end. So it has a lot of these good plays. It has PA counter go. It's not as good as Raiders, but it has PA counter go. It has inside cross. It has PA shot wheel, double and sail, inside zone. But the only play that it doesn't have is going to be curl flat. Or actually, never mind, it does. So it's a very good gun trips tight end. Not only is it a good trips tight end, you have a good bunch in here. You have some unique plays, 5-1-8 hook, corner strike. You don't see those every day. Decent bunch, and then you also have U trip, so it just overall is a more diverse playbook. Seattle is a very good bunch tight end. We've talked about those already, so I wanted to go with something different. You got U trips, very unique. Not only do you have that, you have ace slot, very, very good offensive formation as well. And then you move on to the last thing, which is probably this split close. So overall, Patriots just gives you a whole lot of options. It gives you 3-4 offensive Giants to decide between with these really good formations, whereas Seattle, you're kind of down, stuck to that bunch. Now, running the ball, it's not good. You're not going to have a good strong. You're not going to have a good weak. You're not going to have a good I form really at all. As far as single back, we do have a Y trips with that power alt or that power alert lookie. So it's decent, but again, single back's not really our focus. Those formations are not really used a whole lot. But again, between the split close, the A slot, the U trips, the trips tight end, and the bunch, this was a little bit too much for me to pass up on. Very unique. I've gone over again pretty much all of these formations as well. Go check those out. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to defensive. The full list for offense was Raiders, Jets, Carolina, San Francisco, and New England. So let's go ahead, hop into defense. Alright guys, now I'm at the play call screen or the get ready screen practice mode, but I just wanted to show you guys the playbooks. It could be a little bit confusing if you're a beginner. Our first defensive playbook is going to be the 4-6, which comes out in the specialist playbook. To get this in Ultimate Team, just go to that training market or store, I guess, and you can buy a specialty defensive playbooks pack. That's where you will find this. So we're going to start out in 4-6. That's going to be our number one choice. Alright guys, went ahead, moved the face cam because we're going to be using this 4-6 playbook, and we're going to be on this left-hand side for this section. Now, as far as 4-6 is concerned, it's really, really good overall. It's got to be the best in the game. Now, again, this comes down to what you're running. If you want to run a select formation out of a select playbook like double A gap, that's going to be Giants, which we'll talk about later. But as far as this 4-6 is concerned, we really do have it all. Start to finish, you got a 4-6 normal. Overall, unique. Diverse formation, not used a whole lot, but it is there if you wanted to use it. Mainly, we're going to just go down to nickel right away, and the big reason that 4-6 is used is going to be for this 3-3-5. Now, 3-3-5, not only that, but the potential and the actual just being able to audible from 3-3-5 to 3-3-5 wide. Pretty much that allows you to get these safeties here at linebacker. That's going to overall make the biggest difference. In the entire defensive playbook, just being able to audible from 3-3-5 to 3-3-5 wide. You throw linebackers here at the outside. Then when I audible in game, I can get outside linebackers at this spot, whereas if I try to sub in safeties, I cannot do that. So again, it's really only a couple of formations. You also have big nickel, and you have dollar. So you have a couple of good formations. Mainly, again, though, it is going to be the 3-3-5 to 3-3-5 wide. That's enough for me to say that it is the best defensive playbook in the game. I run 3-3-5, 3-3-5 wide. That's why I say it. A lot of people are running that as well. So overall, you're probably seeing this the majority of online games that you play. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and move into our number two choice. Alright guys, we got our second playbook. It's going to be the New York Giants, which I brought up briefly there. Giants, it's a little bit different. Now, I'm going to show you guys the reason that it's not as good in my opinion. That's because we don't have the 3-3-5. Now, we do have some other options, but overall, the 3-3-5 wide is not really as usable in an ultimate team stance because I can't get safeties at linebacker out of the formation. So you're a little bit stuck, and it almost makes this formation pretty useless if you ask me. We do have a big nickel over G. Again, that's kind of died down as far as its popularity. Not too many people are running that. If you do run big nickel over G, it is also in the 4-6 playbook, so there's not really a reason to not use that, in my opinion. Moving across the board, we have 3-3-5 odd. You have that blitz if you want to run it. As far as that's concerned, not too many people are running that, but if you still run 3-3-5 odd, again, you're probably choosing Giants playbook if you want a good blitz. Giants playbook is a pretty solid formation for blitzing the quarterback, probably better than 4-6. Mainly, we got this 2-4-5 double A gap. That's very popular. You got this cover one hole. Very good bluff blitz coverage. You have mid blitz. Again, we all know about that. Double A gap is really a good formation. I really do wish that was in 4-6. I would definitely be using this a whole lot more if it was. Unfortunately, it's not. But if you're running Giants, it's just a good kind of fresh playbook, a little bit different than what you've seen before. Now, a good amount, again, of people use this as well, but overall, it's just a little bit different in its tendencies and success rate. You also have big dime 1-4-6. So our big differences are 1-4-6, 3-3-5 odd, there, and double A gap. 4-6 is big difference, is just having a 3-3-5 wide. It's by far the best defensive formation in the game. So I value that above all three of these formations. In my opinion, again, this is personal preference. Also, just having a regular 3-3-5 is nice as well. It doesn't have that. I would definitely take that over either of these two formations. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into our next playbook. All right, guys, our next playbook is going to be multiple. So again, it's going to be found in this specialty playbook, same as the 4-6. You will see just scrolling through right here, we get to this multiple defense. That's the playbook that we're going to go ahead and run next. All right, guys, now as far as multiple goes, it's, again, similar to the 4-6. Actually, very, very similar. You will see here. Really, it has two big differences, and those are it doesn't have 4-6 normal. Again, that's not too big of a deal, but it also doesn't have big nickel over G, which is kind of the main thing. You see you get some heavier formations. You get 4-3, 3-4, 5-2. But again, you just don't have that much firepower. I would like it a whole lot more if it did have this 1-4-6. Unfortunately, it doesn't. You still have dollar. And again, we talked about the 3-3-5, 3-3-5 wide. How much I value that. That's actually the main reason why it's at our number 3 spot, just because it's another playbook where you can audible. If you're into some of these heavier formations, this would probably be your choice. But as far as diversity, I think 4-6 has a pretty sizable edge on it. Although all three of these formations are very, very similar, there's nothing really unique that kind of sets it apart that makes me want to go, I would rather run multiple than 4-6. For that reason, we're going to put it at our number 3 slot here. All right, guys, moving into our number 4, we got the Baltimore Ravens defensive playbook. I kind of went back and forth on 4 and 5. Really, it's 1 and 2 that are just the most used out of all of these. But I wanted to find some unique stuff for you guys if you're trying to be a little bit off meta. I went with Baltimore. Baltimore has some wild playbooks, but still can be very successful. Starting out, you got, again, a 3-4. You have a 4-4 split, which is something we haven't seen, I don't think. Maybe it's in that 4-6. But as far as the other formations, you got this 2-4-5. I've been seeing this cover 4 palms. I'm not even sure who uploaded this, but I've seen a little bit of this 2-4-5 as of recently. Depending on how far that gets, this could be a lot better playbook. But you got 2-4-5, a little bit different than all of the nickel normals that we've been seeing. We also got this double A gap. Again, very similar to the Giants playbook. We have this double A gap. Very successful, very underrated. You got cover 1. Again, we have mid blitz. You know all of these good plays out of here. We do have a 3-3-5 wide now. Again, you would really only be able to run this if you have like 90 speed linebackers, and even then, they don't animate, they don't cover, so really I think it is kind of needed to have safeties there, especially at the outside linebacker slot. Now I haven't labbed at all, kind of like audibling between something like a formation like this where you can get safeties there, but again, you just kind of want only those 3 down linemen, so really 3-3-5 is kind of the only formation you can use. We also have 3-3-5 odd. So this is, you see it's very similar to the Giants defensive playbook. We've got the multiple and 4-6 similar. Now we have Giants and Ravens, very similar. Last but not least, we have nickel triple. Again, 3-3-5 odd. You can blitz out of it, very successful. Nickel triple, I think it's actually unique. I might actually try to find some stuff out of this formation because it does seem very unique, and it seems like you'd be able to get some blitzes or good coverage through it. So maybe I'd check that out a little bit. It's a pretty good formation. But then you come down, you got this big dime 2-3-6, which I think you can get safeties here. Yes, you can. So you can get safeties at linebacker. You can actually get a cornerback at linebacker. So it's very similar to the 4-6 normal. So if you want to run a formation with double A gap or whatever, you can get basically a 4-6 normal right here. Again, you have the 1-4-6, similar to the Giants. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about our last choice. Alright guys, again we're hopping into the Jets defensive playbook. Now really it's difficult to make all of these choices. Again, I mentioned that those top two are really head and shoulders above the competition. But we do have some decent stuff. We're hopping into the Jets defensive playbook for number 5 again. Really the majority of defensive playbooks are just terrible. Same with offense. I really wish there was more diversity in the game, more formations that could be good. But this year there's a very strict meta in the game, and that is the certain formations that I mentioned. But out of this Jets playbook, you see we got some nice 3-4 formations. Unique if you're running 3-4 odd, 3-4 bear. You have some things there. As far as nickel goes, we have a 3-3-5 will. That's something we haven't seen. But again, these two formations, 3-3-5 wide and double A gap. Again, 3-3-5 wide, not good. You can't get safeties there, but it is still usable in certain situations. And then coming down, you got 1-4-6 in this kind of 4-6 normal type big dime 2-3-6. So again, you have some options. But yeah, not going to talk about this too long. I really have never used this playbook, but just want to throw it in again to complete that top 5. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and peace. I'm out of here.